Hey guys, what's going on? This is Chris, IMTN Worldwide Radio, and this is Around the ATL. It's going to be our first show, live show in a while. Okay, so stay tuned. I just want to pop on here early. Just stay tuned. Oh, the heck? I forgot I gotta click that off. But anyway, stay tuned. I'm gonna put a little video on real quick, and we'll be starting at 10 o'clock. Don't go anywhere.
Turn it up! Turn it up! Ray! Ray! Pass the ball! Ollie, going for Ray. Now, move! Come on.
Where are you going?
In the game.
Sit down.
What do you mean? We gotta have 5 out there.
Sit down. Sit.
Coach, need one more.
My team's on the floor.
Okay.
What were you trying to do?
Good evening, everyone. This is Chris on IMTN Worldwide Radio. This is Around the ATL. It is the first day of December 2022. 646-652-4479 is the number. We haven't said that number in a long time. This is actually our first show live show in months, actually, unfortunately. But if you've been missing Around the ATL, I have been doing a little mini show called Side Notes. So if you get a chance, make sure if you're following IMTN Worldwide Radio, go check out the Side Notes program that I've been putting up periodically, topic based. The most recent one was about Kevin Herter and the first 20 games of the regular season for the Atlanta Hawks, plus 14 games of them losing by 13 points or less. The video before that, I actually talked about discipline and leadership and winning. So definitely go back and watch those videos. Want to say a shout out to everybody who's following, who follows on Twitter and will be watching hopefully tonight and or the recorded show after. And of course, those who are already following IMTN Worldwide Radio, hopefully you tune in tonight, but also some who follow us on the Facebook page side of things, New Pack City, Atlanta Hawks Nation, We Are the G, Savage Dogs of UGA, the Atlanta Braves fan pages. I think I follow like 3 of those. Falcons Nation, Dirty Bird Nation, Atlanta Bird Gang, and everybody who's been a fan of the show for years. Also, again, just a reminder, if you're following the IMTN Worldwide Radio YouTube channel currently, and you happen to call into the show or you message into the show because the messenger is always open, you'll be eligible to win a ticket to an Atlanta Hawks game or a College Park game for the Skyhawks, or maybe a free shirt from the Originative brand. Speaking of, make sure you visit the Originative brand on Instagram. I'll go ahead and pop that page up there. They're responsible for the new Around the ATL logo that you see up there in the corner. Which way am I going? Right there. And they originally did the logo for Around the ATL when I started the show a few years ago. So make sure you go visit them. They create some great items on the apparel side that's Atlanta-centric when it comes to sports or anything else that you might want. But definitely if you're a Hawks fan, Braves fan, Falcons fan, Dog fan, anything you want, they can make it for you. Make sure you go to the Originative brand on Instagram. Make sure you let them know that Around ATL sent you. Make sure you do that. But as I mentioned, 646-652-4479 is the first live show we've done in a while. Make sure you follow on Twitter, Intellect ATL, or Jordan23 ATL on Twitter. That's my co-host of the show. Now, Mr. Jordan Jackson, he will be joining us in a little bit. He's a little tied up at the moment. So what we're going to do, I have a plan. I have a plan for this. So one of the things I want to make sure that people are reminded of is the fact that we've had some great interviews over the years. I'm going to see if this works or not, but we've had a lot of different interviews. So one of the things I want to do as Jordan gets ready to come onto the show and we get started officially is remind people, some of the people we've had on the show as guests. Now, I've not done this before, so I don't know if it's going to work. So to not risk it not working, I'm going to do this. I'm going to mention some of the people that we've had on and then show you who I'm talking about, okay? So first and foremost, a couple of years ago, I think it was our 2-year anniversary show, and I had some legends in the broadcast game come on the show back to back. Bob Rathman, Steve Holman. If you know who they are, Bob, of course, does the broadcast for the Atlanta Hawks games on television on Bally's. And of course, Steve Holman, Hall of Famer, 92.9 The Game. He broadcasts all of the Hawks games. He's not missed a game yet, folks. So the reason I'm doing that pause, I don't know if you still hear me when the picture goes up, but make sure you go back. You can listen on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker. You can call out Alexa, Amazon Music. You can listen to some of those past interviews with Mr. Bob and Steve. They've been on our show plenty of times. I am planning to have both of them on this year as well. It's been a while, so be looking out for that. We've also had the legend, Mr. Jerome Jarinovich, on the show. Okay. He was on the show a few months ago. It was a great interview. He gave us some really cool stories that I know I've never heard before. Jerome used to prelude Hawks Live and Braves Live for like 15 years, and he was on the show Around the ATL. Another guest was John Collins, starting power forward of the Atlanta Hawks. He's been on our show before. That was a pretty exciting interview. This was prior to him signing his extension, actually. The year before, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals as well. So it was really insightful, some of the things that he talked about. So go and you can go check that interview out. I'll probably will repost all of these as I'm going through them and whatnot. Another interview we've had this year, Mr. Rashad Phillips, aka Yoda. He was a really cool interview because, of course, he knows everything that you need to know about the guys coming up through the college ranks going to the NBA draft. So if you want to go back and listen to that interview, he talked about some players that the Hawks, I'm not going to give the whole interview away, but go check out Rashad Phillips' interview on Around the ATL. Another former guest, Miss Tanitra Batiste. Now, she has a foothold in regards to the Atlanta Hawks as an analyst, in-game analyst, but also she's a broadcaster herself. Her and Jarvis have their own show. So you know who Jarvis is from 92.9 formerly. So she really was a fun interview because she knows a lot about basketball, but she also knows a lot about sports in general. So we had some real in-depth discussions, obviously, about the Atlanta Hawks at the time. And this was, I think this summer we had her interview. So go back and listen to Miss Tanitra Batiste. She also does color commentary with The Dream as well. So go check that out. Another former guest, now he was a little bit more recent, Mr. Marvin Freeman, former Atlanta Brave, was on the show. Now, he was talking about his foundation and coaching baseball. Did you know that he actually coached the Rookie of the Year, Michael Harris? Did you know that? I didn't know that at the time. So go back and listen to that particular interview. That was really cool. Last but definitely not least, we have the Hall of Famer Dominique Wilkins on the show. Now, this was, I think, 3 years ago. He was actually about to get on the plane to go to Detroit, which was the season opener back then. And because you can almost hear the plane in the background and everything. But he took time out. I think it was maybe 10, 15 minutes to talk to us on Around the ATL. We talked about Hawks. We talked about Hawks versus Celtics. We talked about Larry Bird. We talked about the new Hawks. We had a great discussion. So I just wanted to go through some of those to let you know some of the people we've had on the show. And we've had others. We've had Angel McCautry. We had, at the time, head coach of the year of the WNBA, Nikki Collin, on the show of the Atlanta Dream. We've had so many people on the show over the years. So again, we do talk sports, but we also get to talk to people who are in sports, which is pretty cool, right? And directly related to sports. So again, if you've never listened to Around the ATL in the past, definitely, like I said, you can go back and listen to past episodes on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, all those different platforms. Alexa, you can also listen as far as that goes as well. Now, that being said, I thought I had stalled in just enough for Jordan to come on, but he's not there just yet. So we'll go ahead and get started. Now, tonight, the plan is to do a 2-hour show. We hadn't done a 2-hour show in a while. We'll see if that works out or not. But what we'll go ahead and do, let's see if we can get this to work. You know what? I'm just now thinking about something why it might not work, but we're going to try it anyway. We hadn't done the intro. Oh, that's what it was. Oh, my bad, y'all. So let's go ahead and introduce our co-host for the show tonight. I knew it was something I was forgetting. Let's go ahead and bring him in, Mr. Jordan Jackson. Jordan, can you hear me, sir? Yeah, and that's why I said this might not work. So let's do this. Let me put you back on hold, John. No. You can call back. All right. That's what I was waiting on. I forgot that Jordan was calling in tonight. So I've just now checked for the first time because I was about to do the Hawks intro. Saw that was somebody on the line. I couldn't remember Jordan's number. The magic of live radio, people, is terrible sometimes. Okay, so that being said, now I know Jordan is not joining us just yet. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the first segment, which is the Atlanta Hawks. We have a lot to talk about. So again, if you have not called into the show before, go ahead and do that now, 646-652-4479. And of course, you can also message us on the IMTM Worldwide Radio page. And but in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and let's see if we can. I can't even find the intro right now. This is wonderful tonight. Let's see if we can get this going. All right, so let's see what we're going to talk about with the Hawks. Now, of course, month of November, near the end of it, was very eventful, correct? As we can see some of the teams that we've played, and we know the Houston game, we know the Philly game, we know the Miami Heat game, we know all that transpired in those particular 3 games, right? And, we just, beat the Orlando Magic. And as I mentioned on Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter at Intellect ATL, some folks are getting a little bit too hype about that particular win. We were supposed to beat them like that. All right. We only beat them by 10 game 2 of the season. Okay. We were supposed to beat them like that, no matter what. Okay. 5-win team. Okay. But again, like I said, we let a 3-win team come back and beat us after we were up 16 points. And then they were also shorthanded. And then we let another team beat us that was also shorthanded. Jimmy Butler wasn't playing. And then we let another team beat us without James Harden and Maxey. You know how Maxey likes to kill us, and he wasn't in the game either. Or James Harden. Okay. And we have leads and we can't keep them, Now, of course, immediately on our minds right now is John Collins is hurt, right? I think he's gone for approximately 2 weeks or so. Give or take. And also Hunter looks like he's going to be gone for at least a week. So what are we going to do? What can be done in regards to now we're going to be shorthanded officially? Plus we have some guys banged up too, so that's going to be a little bit of a concern, you think, right? But maybe not. But what do the Hawks have to do to start winning consistently? What has to happen? Past the injuries, past all the other things that are going on. Because the thing of it is this, and I'll say this right off the bat before I get started with what I was going to talk about, is that all these other teams that are shorthanded are beating us. So they're doing something, right? So that can't be an excuse, is my point. We can't beat Orlando like we did and then go play our next game, and then it is as if we didn't even play yesterday, right? Or can we? Because remember a couple of weeks ago, we beat the Milwaukee Bucks in Milwaukee straight up, played pretty much a flawless game, and then go and have Boston come in the night that Jeezy comes in there, Mr. Snowman himself. And as I keep joking, you got ladies of the night walking around and guys with fur coats on. It was just like an Outcast video, it was crazy, right? Scene so thick, just smoky, even though it was supposed to be smoky. It was smoky. I don't know what was going on. And I was just walking around. I wasn't even sitting at my seat yet. But we got beat by 30 that night, though. As if that Milwaukee game didn't even exist. It was like we time traveled into a different portal. And I actually came to Atlanta for that game. I have a season ticket package. That was one of them. That is not what I anticipated, coming 2 hours away to watch the team do that. That was pretty disheartening. I'll just say it like that. So what has to happen for this team to play on a general scale with the talent that we do have? Because you know what my contentions have been, right? that we don't block out. We can't rotate properly. We don't call out switches. We don't know when to stay with man or when to switch. We overhelp all the time. We don't get back on defense. And the numbers are all proving that out. And then on the offensive side, we don't have offensive set. Somebody wanted to try to basically convince me that there's no need to have players with actual play. And I'm like, all the other teams have a play for their guys multiple times, multiple ways to make sure that their guys get the ball in their best spots on numerous occasions. But on our team, now we just got to ISO everybody and shoot three-pointers all night. That just is not winning basketball. Last night, we moved the ball around and people touched the ball. That's what the commentators keep saying, right? Our guys keep saying everybody needs to be moving. Everybody needs to be touching the ball. And the moment we don't do that, we get beat. And we get beat handily, don't we? Like, we lost 39 games last season. I don't know why this is still a point of contention. We wouldn't have made the playoffs if it wasn't for the new format. We were in ninth place. We had to win 2 games to get into the playoffs. To watch us get beat by Miami because Kevin gave us 12 points, 4 points, 13 points, 9 points, and 8 points in that playoff series. If we had Kayvon, because we all mad that he gone, right? But you should be mad that he didn't help us out in that playoff series with Hunter. But we would have won that series, I believe. With Hunter doing what he was doing, Kevin giving us 18, 19 as well, I think we still would have won that series. Now, another thing, point of contention, I'm still not even gotten to where I'm gonna get to yet. Can't have players shooting us out the game on a regular basis. It keeps happening. You can't do that. And see, the other thing that happened last night, you continue to see that we got some other players that can come in the game. So you can't keep saying, oh, well, we just have to have the player out there. No, you can't keep rewarding minutes to players who are either doing what the coach tells him not to do, or the player is just unaware, doesn't have the self-awareness that he's hurting his team. You can't have a player go 4 for 17 and think that's a good thing. You can't have a player go Trey can't keep doing 2 for 11 from 3. You got away with it last night because of who we were playing. He can't go 2 for 11 against the Nuggets and think we're going to have a shot to win that game. Short-handed especially, don't y'all think? Trey should have had 20 assists last night. Trey should have 15 assists every night. Trey is about to pass Magic doggone Johnson for 30 and 10 games in his career. The Hawks would dominate if we would finally gear the offense around one of the best passers in the game. We would just move. If we would just move around, if we would just cut to the basket, Trey will find you. He wants to find you. I said that during Summer League. I said Trey's trying to get 20 assists out there in Summer League. He doesn't have the players to match up to his passing. That's all that was. Again, players can't bench themselves. If the player is unaware that he's hurting the team, the coach has to say, hey, and put in Trent Forrest or put in Jarrett Culver, who had 9 points and 12 rebounds. You can't tell me that he can't do it. As a team, we still don't know the basics of basketball, or we know them and we won't utilize them. That's not good, right? It's not good. So with John being out for 2 weeks, Hunter out for a week, other players banged up, what are we going to do on a week-to-week basis? Trey needs help, right? He got to have the help. And we have the players that can help him, but are they being put in the best position to succeed? That is the ultimate question as far as that goes. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Call into the show, 646-652-4479. John, hopefully you call back. But in the meantime, looks like I do have my co-host to join me now. So let's go ahead and bring in, well, let's wait a second now. Live radio. There we go. Let's go ahead and bring in Mr. Jordan Jackson to the show. Jordan, what's going on, man?
What's going on, sir? Excuse my tardiness. I had to take care of a couple things, but I am here. I am in the building. Well, around the ATL, coming to you from I guess you call this area Centerville, Georgia, today. So I'm always around the ATL somewhere, working and whatnot. Shout out to all those listening to us. We certainly appreciate you guys, and I always like to give a shout out in advance to all of our podcast listeners, the people who listen to the show after the fact that don't catch us live because they're busy. Maybe they work somewhere that doesn't allow them to, have their phones and watch live and what have you, or listen live and what have you. But we appreciate those people just as well. Shout out to Hawks Twitter, Falcons Twitter, Atlanta Sports Twitter as a whole. Those guys keeping it live always, and there's always some type of spirited discussion going on in regards to Atlanta sports. You never know who's involved in these discussions. Sometimes it's our local writers, sometimes it's national writers involved in some of these Twitter discussions. Sometimes it's even the parents of some of the players involved in these discussions. Shout out to Mr. Ray Young. Um, but with that being said, sir, definitely looking
Controversy.
forward to talking about these Atlanta sports and in particular our Hawks, which I see you were starting to get into as I was listening in a little bit right before I came on.
Thank you. 646-652-4479. I actually had broke down some of the people we had as guests as a filler, as I was waiting for you as well, just to kind of remind people some of the guests we had. And then, like I said, I started talking about
Yeah,
what we were
I was
talking about.
listening in, and if I would have been here at 10:10, like you said, you would have timed that exactly perfect. Like I said,
I
you would have
tried,
timed
man.
that perfectly. I had to give you credit for that.
I tried, man. I said I was prepared tonight, right? So I had pictures and everything. I wasn't even playing. So as I was mentioning, can the Hawks play 500 ball with these immediate injuries that have occurred? And I was mentioning how we beat Orlando, but a lot of people are kind of making it as if we're okay now because we beat Orlando like we beat them. And I'm like, but wait a minute, Orlando is a 5-win team, and we were supposed to beat them like that because we hadn't been doing it in the past. And I actually want to mention Glenn Willis on Twitter because one thing I saw him post a video, and it was showing how the reason the Hawks stand behind the 3-point line is to make it easier to where when the pick and roll starts happening, we get some passing lanes and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, but wait a minute, if that's the case, that's not working. You want to know why? Because all the other teams in the NBA have better discipline and they don't overhelp. They know our guys, they know this because they watch film. They know our guys are not going to move away from that 3-point line, which means if they stay with their man, there is nobody you can pass to, which means if the pick and roll doesn't work, and we only do the pick and roll, we don't do the pick and pop like I've been telling people in the past. That means we either have an errant pass that usually turns into a turnover, and/or it's a really not great shot, which means the other teams end up getting it. They go down to the court and they're and one-ing it on us. And that's how we end up blowing a lot of leads because, again, since we don't move the ball, we come up the court, we dribble, shot, and that's it. And it doesn't work because if it was working, we wouldn't have the record that we do have right now. So that's just one thing I wanted to bring up, just a multitude of things that, again, right now we're not pacing as if we're a better team than last year, and we should be. And that's a scary thought. And the fact that we had blown before yesterday, we had lost 3 straight games, losing 16-point or more leads. That actually happened. We watched it happen. So what needs to happen now? Can it happen? Because it needs to happen pretty quick. What needs to happen, Jordan? What needs to happen?
Well, first of all, to go back to what you were talking about in regards to Mr. Glenn Willis on Twitter and what he showed, I saw that, and I think I retweeted your response to it as well. But I think, first of all, the key in what he said there was this is something that the Milwaukee Bucks also run when they don't run their other actions. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, that's pretty much the primary action for us. It's not just some secondary thing when we're not running our other sets. That's pretty much the primary thing that we do. And I agree with you. I think it just it makes us too predictable as an offense. In particular, what you just mentioned, we only pretty much pick and roll because our two starting centers don't really have the ability to do any pick and pop. Our backup center, Kongwu, he's been working on that, and he has made a few mid-range jumpers, but it's still a work in progress for him. And Clint is just, anything outside of the paint, teams aren't going to guard him at all.
Real
So,
quick, I'm not talking about pick and pop with the centers. I'm talking about with John, who can hit all those shots. But go ahead.
well, right. I mean, that's the point is, and that's why for years, people like myself, shout out to Miss D on Twitter as well, have advocated to bring in a more versatile big next to John and allow John to go back into that main role because it does give you so much more variety in your screen and roll attack when you have a guy that can not only roll and finish at one of the highest, most efficient levels, but also exciting levels in the NBA, but also has the ability to pop and knock down the mid-range jumper or slip quickly without even setting the pick. He can give you every version of that particular play, whereas our centers can't. So that's where I was kind of going with it. I'll say as far as the win over Orlando, I don't want to take it for granted because beating a 4-win team or 5-win team, whatever it is better than losing to one. And so I am happy that they broke a 3-game losing streak. But with that being said, I certainly not acting like we're arrived or anything. That's just something that we need to continue to build on. And you hit on a lot of the points. Got to move the basketball. But also, especially if you're facing a zone defense or something like that, you got to move it with a purpose. Can't just swing it side to side and you're not, affecting the defense much. You got to get into the teeth of the defense. And having a chance to go to that game against the Miami Heat recently, first of all, shout out to the Goody Mob, Timo, Cujo, Big Gip, and CeeLo even was there. It was certainly a treat. It took me back to my high school days to see those guys perform live like that and see them all together. But after the Goody Mob, the second biggest takeaway from that game is what Miami is running is so much more advanced than what we're running, Chris. And when you're at the game live and you're able to see what each player is doing, you're able to get like a bird's eye view of the sets as opposed to television that's often focusing on one particular area. You can really tell the difference. And the difference in the second half of that game after Coach Spoelstra made adjustments was everything we got was difficult. Like it was almost every shot was contested, or it was a three from a guy that's not a great 3-point shooter, or someone that's struggling. Whereas everything Miami got was easy. They were running a lot of post splits. They were running a lot of pick and roll action, but they were also making plays out of the short roll if the full roll wasn't there. They were making a secondary play out of that. And they were getting either a layup, a dunk, or open shot almost every time down the floor. And so, schematically, I think is a big thing. Obviously we have the coach that we have for right now. So he needs to do something different in terms of adjusting and giving our attack a little bit more variety to make it, a little bit harder for teams to key on us and to a little bit more unpredictable so teams don't just automatically know what we're doing.
646-652-4479. One of the things that I mentioned on a different page was the fact that actually, I posted it, that we need to be able to, all the other teams through the decades have put their players in the best position to succeed. Okay. John Collins shoots 78% from 0 to 5 feet. Okay. He needs to be getting the ball a little bit more there. That's higher than anybody on the team, including Clint, who shoots 59% from that same distance, and even Double O, who shoots 71%, which is very high. But we've had a lot
73 to 59 is a huge disparity, sir.
78. Okay.
Oh, goodness.
And then for John, 10 to 15 feet, he hits half of his shots at any given time. But here's the deal. From 0 to 5 feet so far this year, John has 3 shots a game. And 10 to 15 feet, he has less than 1 shot a game. but he's regulated to shoot threes all the time, which right now he ain't hitting. So why not get him hitting the shots that he can hit so we can score instead of putting up shots that he's not hitting? See, that's where it goes back to you can't keep letting people keep missing shots that they're not hitting rather than putting them in a better position to hit the shots that they can hit. Clint ain't out there shooting threes. How come nobody's cussing everybody out that Clint ain't shooting three-pointers? It's the new age basketball, right? Clint Capella has not shot a three-pointer all year, and he never will. Why? Because he can't hit them. What in the world?
Yeah, unless it's the end of the quarter type heave or something, you forget about it. But real quick, let me just add, in that Miami game, when they came out with that zone defense against us in the second half, I thought John was the only person doing a great job diving into the teeth of that zone. And he was able to knock down several mid-range shots. They may have not have been within 15 feet. A lot of them may have been 16, 17, 18 feet. But they were inside three-point line, and he was knocking them down and had a great game. So you definitely make a great point, sir, is what we need to put the players in the position to do what's best for them. And sometimes I don't worry about Trey at all because I know who he is. I believe in his game. And I know, that his shooting percentage is going to eventually correct itself. But I kind of worry about the fit with Trey and DeJounte because it seems like whichever one of them has to play off the ball more seems to struggle more most games. And one thing I've mentioned on Twitter is I think he needs to go and watch what Dwayne Wade did to kind of adjust the play off ball, how to attack playing with a great on ball player like he did, like Wade did with LeBron. But that would also require our coach going to study what Miami did with Wade and LeBron and to put DeJounte in those positions as well. Go ahead, sir.
646-652-4479. I'm sorry, John. I saw you. I was about to bring you on. So call back if you can. Mr. John Harris representing ATL. We'll get him on the show soon. That being said, what can we do? What's going to have to happen? Jarrett Culver got into the game per injuries. It looks like that was the only way he was going to get in, apparently. And he had a pretty decent game. He had 9 points. He had 12 rebounds. And one of the things about rebounding is it's all about effort. And if we would just block out a little bit, a lot of these leads that we keep losing wouldn't be losable leads because we would actually keep the possession arrow on the right side for a change, okay? And, of course, if we actually ran some plays that actually the players would be more proficient in, you would offset the other team being able to come back in the game as well. Because when you're actually running an offense and you're actually, let me go ahead and do it. I haven't done it in a while, so let's go ahead and do it right now while I'm thinking about it.
How many times are we going to pass before we shoot? How many? 4. 4!
4 times. 4 times. And really in the NBA, it could be even more. Again, everybody was watching the Golden State Warriors play the other night and seeing the ball moving around and players moving around and people cutting and everything like that. Do y'all know if we were to do that, we would almost not be beatable as a team because nobody could focus on the one player no more, right? But we help other teams beat us by being singular like that. 646-652-4479. Thanks for all who are watching live, wherever you might be watching from, Twitter, Facebook, or the IMTN Worldwide Radio page. Remember, if you're watching the IMTN Worldwide Radio page and you're subscribed to the page and you happen to call in or message us during the show, you become eligible to win a Hawks ticket to an upcoming Atlanta Hawks game, a College Park Skyhawk game, or a shirt from the Originative brand. So make sure you're doing those things, and you never know. Let's see if Mr. John has not called us back yet. So, Jordan, with these games coming up, I know we play Denver. We have OKC, I think, coming up. I think we have the Nets coming up. We have all these teams coming up. Can we go 500 until we get a couple of our starters back? What has to happen? Who's going to be taking some of the brunt of the pressure? Basically, are we going to play as a team like we did the other night and everybody touched the ball, everybody was in the flow of the game, or are we going to try to have just 2 players scoring 50 points apiece and we get beat by 25? What do you think?
Well, I mean, like you mentioned, just a while ago, we have lost to some of these other NBA teams that have been missing some key players. We suffered a defeat to the Philadelphia Sixers with 76ers with no James Harden and no Tyrese Maxey. I hate to even talk about it, but that Houston game, which was extremely frustrating, they were missing two key players in their starting center, Sengun, as well as Eric Gordon. They're only real veteran on their roster that gets playing time. And so if these teams are able to beat us without some of their key players, doggone it, Chris, I expect us to be competitive without two starters as well. Now, I think one of the keys to that, to the John Collins injury, is we need Jalen Johnson back. He's been missing a couple games with a sore ankle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Is what he's been ill with. I'm hoping that he'll be able to play again soon because this would be a great opportunity for him to see more minutes, to get more comfortable. And one thing about Jalen Johnson is he can really pass. And so having guys in the front court, at the 4 or the 5 position that can pass, it can help add a lot of variety to your offense. It can help you reward your guards for cutting and moving off the ball. May help DeJounte get a hoop, or two going towards the basket. So I think he'll be key to that. As far as the small forward go, and I was about to try to look it up here, but my tablet needs a little juice. Um, I'm not sure what DeAndre Hunter's career high in rebounds is, but it's quite interesting to have Corver get his first real minutes and get 12 boards, in the first game. Now, I don't anticipate Corver will start. I don't know. He did start in the second half of the game last night, but I'm thinking AJ Griffin probably will and probably should get the nod right there. And I'm confident in what that kid can do. He's one of the rookie leaders in the league, despite only playing the 14th most minutes of any rookie. He's top 5 or top 10 in most of your offensive categories for rookies. So I think it's a great opportunity for him as well. Where I'm a little concerned with it, where we're really going to need guys to step up, is off the bench. We're going to need Jared Culver to continue to play hard. We're going to need Vit Krejci. I'm always not quite sure how to pronounce his name. We're going to need him to flash in the minutes that he plays. We're going to need Justin Holiday to play like he played recently. His last game he played was a game against Philadelphia. Shot the ball very well in that game. Played very well in that game, defensively as well. Those type of efforts we're going to need from guys like that. We're going to need a guy like Trent Forrest, who's been getting minutes, to continue to play strong. But what would really, really help the situation out even more, and I have started to see him be upgraded from out to doubtful on the injury report, and that's Bogey Bogdanovich, sir. If he could come
646
back, that would help.
646-652-4479 is the number indeed. When Bogey comes back, it's definitely going to be a boost, but we're going to need, again, a team effort. Got a caller back on the line. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Good evening, caller. Go ahead and tell us where you're calling from and your name, please. Hey, wait a
You're on
minute,
the
you
air, caller.
almost messed up, man. You almost said we were in the same country like that other person did the other day. But anyway, welcome to the show. Just saying. How you doing, man? Uh-oh. I think Jordan is frozen. No,
Am I? No, I can hear you fine. I can't hear a caller, but I can hear you.
oh, that's interesting. Well, go ahead. Go ahead with your point, John. Yes.
Yeah, I can't hear John at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Well, I was going to say, well, first of all, it seems that some of our listeners on the YouTube channel actually can't hear you for some reason. I'm not sure why. I just got a message that is basically just me staring at the screen waiting for you, but that's okay. But see, I'm on the phone, I can hear. Okay, so now Jordan says he can hear you. But I want to mention something to what you were saying though, just to kind of catch up with the fans who might not have been hearing what you were saying in regards to you do still have a young factor, excuse the pun, in regards to maturity, I guess, between Murray and Young and the other players and things of that nature. And like you said, Trey Young is the guy who put us on the map. A lot of people still don't want Trey Young here, by the way. All I know is that there's still the element of if he is actually, I'll use what Jordan said one time. Jordan said, there's a time for things and there's time to win. And winning time is the fourth quarter. So well, like you said, you would give uh, him a pass a little bit on his shot selection and things of that nature because he has given us some heroic moments and things of that nature. But the fourth quarter, sometimes you got to peel back. Some of those threes from half court, they're just not necessary because those are the rebounds that the other team gets and goes back down the floor and get and ones on. That's how you lose those 16-point leads a lot of times. Him and Murray, we don't pass the ball, and we're just chucking it up. And at a certain point, if those chucks don't go in, it's not great. And that Houston game also was, like you said, the trash talking. Trash talking ain't nothing wrong with that, but you got to be able to back that up. And so to lose a game like that in that vein, it was a bad look, period. And that's also where, again, as I mentioned, the coach is the only one that can subside that. When you see a player missing a lot from a particular area, it has to be an instruction given to say, hey, I need you to come in. I need you to drive. I need you to drive and kick. We can't really drive and kick, though, because nobody on the outside of that three-point line ever moves to be kicked to. That's a problem. I've been saying that for years now, right? But at least try to do that because an easier two is better than a harder three any time of the day. There's too many teams that do that to us, right? And so at a certain point, if the players are unaware or they don't have the self-awareness that they are putting their teams in a bind, the coaching staff has to be able to make that adjustment. And as I mentioned, we do have enough players to say we can subsidize some of these minutes because at a certain point, you can't keep rewarding minutes for bad play. It doesn't matter who the player is. I've been saying that for the last 5 years for this particular squad. If it's Hunter, if it was Kevin, if it was Bogey, if it was Gallo, if it was Lou, if it was John, if it was Trey, if it was Hunter, if it was Clint, it didn't matter who it was. At a certain point, if you're playing like trash, you got to come out for a little bit. Put somebody else in. I don't care who. Put somebody else in and let them play with a little bit more energy and effort. Because if that's the only thing that's doing it, well, that's what we need at that particular time, right? And so I want to see the team win. I don't want to see the team scraping by. I don't want them to just barely be making it. This team is too good to just be barely making it, especially after a year like last year. Last year, I said it again, the things that happened last year were supposed to be fixed. We had a whole offseason to negate the things that are happening now between the offense and the defense. And we haven't, nothing has been addressed because we can see it on the court. We don't block out. We don't get back on defense. We overhelp. We can't switch. We can't rotate. These are basic things. And we don't have an offensive structure to coincide with the talent we have on this team. But all the other players on all the other teams do. And I don't think that's cool for us anymore because I think we're wasting talent. We wasted a year of Trey leading the league in points and assists last year, and basically nobody knows it. There's only one other player who's ever done it ever. Trey's done it. And right now, Trey is a couple of games away from going past Magic Johnson in history of the NBA in total of 30-point games, 10 assist games. Trey's been playing for this many years. I'm on the radio. I'm putting up my hand. There's 5 on there, right? And so for me, it's a matter of it would be better if we could actually fit a system around your best player like all the other teams do with Magic or Jordan or Bron and all these others, or in other sports. Peyton Manning. You heard that name before? Tom Brady. Tom Brady ain't out there running around. Tom Brady has never ran for 200 yards in a season, I'm pretty sure, almost, right? Why? Because he don't have to. Because you know what he does do well? Get the ball to people. That's what he does, right? And so why would you want to fix everything around that so you win? They have a track record of winning over there in New England, right? Because that particular coach said, we're going to do it my way or it's the highway. I'm going to put you in this position. You're going to do your job. And if you don't do your job, you're not going to play, right? So like you just said, it's a worrisome thing sometimes. It's a matter of it has to be learned, though. It's December 1st, 2022. We basically got the same record we had last year. It ain't supposed to be like that. People can't be satisfied like this anymore. We should want more. The players should want more. The coaching staff should want more. The general manager should want more. The owner should want more. I still haven't really heard from Wrestler all this time, getting beat by teams that we know we're not supposed to be getting beat. I hate to just. I want to see the team win. I don't know why I would be wrong in wanting that, but especially since I do have a season ticket package, I take it a little bit more personally because I am making those 2-hour trips. I spent a little bit of money in this case too. Those Laker tickets were no joke, doggone it. I don't want to go to the Laker game and this Dennis Schroeder getting 30 on us, y'all. You see what I'm saying? I don't want, well, they're about to release Matt Ryan over there in Lakerland, but I don't want some indescript person we've never heard of drop 30 on us and beat us. And it's not even Braun or Russell or even AD beating us. It's people who shouldn't be beating us. Because that's what we experience here as Hawks fans. We always have the running joke, but it happens, right? We have somebody who ain't supposed to be hurting us. And why is that? 646-652-4479. I'm sorry, John. I just had to get that off my chest, sir. Jordan actually has not returned yet. I think he's going to check in a second, but go ahead. Exactly. Well, John, the thing of I'm going to interrupt you because see, the thing of it was the reason I mentioned that at the very beginning of the show in regards to the celebration of that win, as if we, I hate to say it, like if as if we did something. I mean, I actually put it on Twitter. A win is a win is a win up to a certain point, but in this case, it's not because we were supposed to win that game. And I think there was a picture of Trey and Clint with some hot gold chains around them and everything in the locker room and stuff. If this was like a after a WWE match that they participated in, maybe. But this is in the end of November, where literally we had the same record that we did a year ago. Okay, and we haven't looked good at all. And much of the things that you have said, I have said them in regards to having no structure on offense to learn these things and or defense. And like you said, if yeah, having a voice like Vince Carter on our bench is being missed greatly because we could have some good banter back and forth to say, hey, this is not how to do it. This definitely is not how to do it. How come you're not playing harder? How come you're not getting a few more rebounds? How come you're not getting a few more deflections? Or how come you're missing assignments on? How come you're doing these things? How come you? How come? You see what I'm saying? There got to be some kind of contention there on that basis, and we just don't have it on this team. 646 is 524479. Let me go ahead and bring in this other caller real quick because I see we have another caller. Go ahead, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling from. What's going on, Jordan? And before you get started, give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. No, no, no. Actually, that's what I was going to do, Jordan. Jordan, hold on. That's why I was going to try to stop you because it's actually blogtalkradio.com / IMTM worldwide. So if for whatever reason you can't hear our callers, folks who are watching the YouTube channel, make sure you go there because for whatever reason, I'm not sure why. It's going to have to be something I troubleshoot later. But you can't hear our callers on the line, so you missed a lot of what John was saying, and now Jordan's on the line. You only could really hear what I've been saying this whole time, which is a lot, but it's not everything. So I apologize. I'm not sure why it's happening, but go ahead, guys. Every single play. Yeah. 646-652-4479. I think what I'm gonna have to end up doing, guys, in a little bit, I think I'm gonna have to go off air because I'm not sure why things are not working. But I want to finish this Hawk segment. So John, any rebuttal to what Jordan just said? Hold on now. Hold on. Just to let you know, because I don't know if you got to see the video I did, but yeah, Gallo is not here. He was getting us 11 points a game, not all the time, but and also he didn't really play defense either. So just I want to segue that a little bit. Go ahead. Actually, it's not. We're scoring exactly what we were doing last year, 113 points a game. We're scoring 113 points a game right now. Well, let me say this. Let me say this. Now again, I don't know. Hold on, they're down, but here's the deal: is one person is not shooting 50 pointers a game either. Remember, and again, I don't know if you got to see the video I did. I broke down the first 20 games of last season and 14 games that we lost 10 points or less. And there was a lot of games that Kevin Herter wasn't dropping bombs like everybody thinks he was. There was a lot of games where he wasn't getting no points, or he was shooting 0 for 4, 0 for 7, 1 for 7 from three, lots of times. So again, it's a cumulative thing. But again, I want to say, yes, the eye test is there, but that also goes into, well, why can't the offense be structured to be around the players that we do have currently? Because if you did that, we wouldn't lose a game. We've had too many games that we have looked really, really, really good, and then we go exactly the opposite of that. That's why I mentioned that Milwaukee Buck game going to the Boston game. I was at that Boston game, and I swear there was just no way this was the same team. It couldn't have been, because we did nothing that we did the game before, and that was just 24 hours ago. You see what I'm saying? And that's what makes me upset, because how can you just have that drastic difference on a game-to-game basis? And it's like, we have guys that can hit wide open. Justin Holiday can do it. AJ can do it. There's times where AJ gets shut out the game. You know what I'm saying? When you have guys who are actually going well, and then you remove them as if they don't exist anymore, and just say, okay, well, let's just revert back to the stuff that ain't working, but we hope it's going to work. That's not basketball, and that's what's hurting the team most of the time, because we don't have to do anything we did last year. Last year didn't work. We lost 39 games, and if it wasn't for the new format, we would have missed the playoffs. And that's what makes me mad about this year. We're supposed to be better than last year, and right now we are not. And in certain cases, we might be worse. And that's what's scary about this season so far. It was startling. It was startling, John. And I had to fight all the Boston fans left and right, all the people in green. They were saying all kind of, they weren't cussing or nothing necessarily, but they were really, really obnoxious. And once they got the alcohol in them, it was just, I did everything I could not to go to jail. But I had to sit through that 30-point loss, and it wasn't cool, man. It wasn't cool. It wasn't cool. Yeah. Yeah, that I just posted on the YouTube page that we want to see the Hawks win a championship. That's it. And to make anything other than that being the biggest deal and pretending as if things are okay, it just isn't. And the moment that everybody in the organization also starts talking and speaking and acting like that, that's when it will probably happen. Because right now it's too what's the word? It sometimes we just get the feeling it's too blasé. Is that a good word to use in this case? It's too it just isn't enough. This no sense of urgency. I was watching the World Cup and they were talking about how I think it was Belgium. It wasn't until like the final moments that they finally decided that they needed to try to play harder to score a goal because they're about to get eliminated, right? And that sense of urgency is something that has made a lot of teams better than they sometimes are, and the ones that are already good to be great because they always have a sense of urgency, whether it be because of Kobe Bryant being on the team, right? Or a particular coach like Coach Spo or Phil Jackson or Pat Riley or whoever. You never had that question with Phil Jackson that the team didn't have a sense of urgency because you weren't playing otherwise. That was it. There is no ifs, ands, or buts, right? And that's what I keep throwing out there to be like, there got to be somebody to say, this is not right. We got to fix it. But if you don't want to fix it, sir, I have to fix it. You see what I'm saying? And there has to be some kind of consequence, and there's no consequences. And when you just let things just keep going as they just keep going, it never gets addressed. And we see this on the court every game. It ain't cool to keep seeing people out of space, out of pocket on the defensive end, like they don't know where they're supposed to be because they're over helping, because they're not paying attention to where their man is, and then their man cuts behind them because their back was turned to their man the whole time. That ain't cool to me when I done played basketball for 40 plus years of my life and I don't let that happen with me. So why is it happening on this court? It shouldn't happen, but it does. And there's never an explanation of the why. And that's what hurts even more. Is it's like, let's just own up to the fact that they ain't being taught and then we can go from there. You see what I'm saying? Because there's no, how could it be watching tape and every game it still keeps happening? It can't, it has to happen all the time, not just one game in seven, right? We can't have these games that we do everything right once in a while. It needs to be every game. And then if the other team still beats you playing to your best effort, so be it. But how many times can we honestly say that we've seen that in the last two seasons, though, right? That's what I'm talking about. I want to see this Hawks team play to the best of its ability every night. I want to see the coaches do their thing. I want to see the GMs do their thing. Wrestler do his thing because it's time. I think that's enough, right? So here's the deal. Um, You know what would offset that as well? If we weren't giving up 112 points a game on the top of that too. If we would just give up 108 points a game, we'd be undefeated almost. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just I don't know. I don't. I just put up on the YouTube page that at a certain point we need a coach to outcoach other coaches regularly. Yeah. Yeah, it's just not, and kind of like what you just said, John. And by the way, guys, I'm gonna have to end the show a little bit early in a little bit, but we don't play the defense to play ISO ball like that either. I wouldn't have minded the Houston game if we had just played a little bit better defense because we still would have won that game with two players shooting 28 and 24 shots respectively if we had just blocked out and not letting that team get what 27 second chance points, 22 offensive rebounds, and however many points in the paint. We would have won that game. We would have. There you go. So we would have won that game anyway with them, one. I don't care about them wanting to show out and talking all this stuff and everything, but there's no way you could do all that and then lose the game anyway. There's just no way you can facilitate that and be okay with that. And because one, Why can't we sweep this team every year? We gotta go next year now and be like, man, they're a rival now because we can't ever beat them, right? We got beat by the Houston Rockets last year, y'all, 132 to 126, and they had less people then than they did for this game. They were out, and we still couldn't beat them, right? So that's one of the things where why can't we get on a objective level of continuity on both sides of the ball over this period of time with the core players that we have, and then bring in other players? Because see, other players coming into this lineup has helped, but we still need to put them in the best positions as well. And that's not happening. Rotations, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what we're really doing. Is it your time to play or what? I don't know why Aaron Holiday ain't playing no more. It doesn't matter, I guess, but there got to be a rhyme or a reason somewhere in there for us to win games on a regular basis, because it has to work. When you do stuff, it does have to work, because with the other teams, it works for them and they beat us, right? And that goes back into having a plan. And that's all I've ever really said from the beginning. I just want to see us have a plan, because I think if we had a plan, teams wouldn't be able to beat us, because we do have Trae Young on this team, and then we do have Murray, who can hit all the shots. Give him better shots to hit those sometimes. If he's missing those threes, tell him, stop shooting threes, doggone it. You're not hitting them. I'm sorry, that's selfish. That was another topic the other night, right? You can't be selfish and win games. You just can't. You can't do it. It shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be allowable. And if the players can't recognize that they're being selfish at a certain point, and you're missing opportunities to get your guys the ball more, especially when they're being productive. Again, that Cleveland game, AJ shut out. He didn't have but two more shots. He was 3 for 4. No, he had one more shot, right? Just on even the other night, he hit 3 straight 3-pointers and didn't get the ball until 5 seconds left in the game. And we lost that game. It doesn't make sense. John not get it doesn't make other people not to get the ball when other people are missing. I don't care who the people are. At a certain point, hey, my bad. Let me stop shooting. Because in our world, that's what we do. Because we know if we keep on shooting, we're not getting picked up the next game. We're just gonna sit on that sideline the rest of the day. Because we ain't gonna pass it. We ain't gonna do right. But in the NBA, you can't really do that, but you can. Because what you can do is subsidize those minutes all of a sudden. You were going to play 35 minutes, but now you might play 28, because we're going to have to sit you for some minutes because you keep shooting us out the game, whoever it is. Or you're not playing defense, or you're not rebounding with us. It got to be some penalty to be like, we got to get under the control. Exactly. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I haven't played in a while. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Give me a second. Let's see. I haven't played it in almost a year, I think. So give me a second or two. Don't go don't say nothing for a second. Let me see if I can find it. Man, I can't even find it. Let me see if I can find it. Live radio, folks. I don't you love it? Um, man, how come? Oh, there it is. Thanks, Steve. It was a moment in time. We all was there, man. I'm telling you. That's why I saved it. I had to do it, man. Oh, I did the hand motion on the YouTube page, Kyle. I did it. As soon as he said it, I was like, come here. Come here. Well, oh, well, oh, well. Yeah. And again, people keep coming at me, and they've been coming at me for a while. I'm not sure why, because I've been saying it on my show for like 4 years now, for forever, to say you can't allow a person to do terrible and then keep them in the game. And so whether it been Coach Pierce, whether it been Nate, whether whoever it was, you have to establish that, because if you just let guys do whatever they want, how successful has that proven to be over the years? How successful has it been for Melo over his career, being basically an isolation type player? How many championships does Melo have? Right? How many does AI have? How many? We can go down the list, can't we? At a certain point, it got to be about the team until team ball came into play. Exactly. That's the best example. So there again, it's like I can't hold a player accountable. I can't take him out the game like I would want to. Only the coach can do that. All I can do is speak on it, which I do, and I have proof on my radio show, online, on video, on Twitter, or everywhere else, to say if a player is playing bad, what's wrong with taking him out the game? Because Coach Daly would do it on the Pistons, right? Again, Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, Spo, Coach Pop will bench Duncan, Ginobili, everybody. It doesn't matter. Tony Parker. Tony Parker was always on the bench, okay, for a period of time until he got it. How many rings do they have over there? Work ethic goes a long way. Work ethic goes a long way. Exactly. Well, okay. Here's the deal. Then here's the deal. Then, let me see how I can do this. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do. So everybody who's watched and who's watching currently on the YouTube channel on IMTN Worldwide Radio for Around the ATL, thank you for watching. Obviously, we've had some technical difficulties, and next time what I'm gonna have to do is try to test it out because I'm not sure from the last time we had a live show why those on the radio who's calling in to the show you can't hear on the YouTube channel. I'm not sure why. But I did try to direct people to the the Blog Talk Radio page, which is the radio channel. So what we're going to do, I'm going to end the broadcast on the YouTube channel, and then I'm going to segue over to Blog Talk Radio specifically for the rest of the night because we're going to go and talk basketball. So on the comment section, if you read it, I actually have posted a couple of times, blogtalkradio.com/IMTN Worldwide. So what we're going to do is I'm going to end the show here with our usual intro, outro. John and Jordan, just put yourselves on hold for a minute, and then I'll reintroduce y'all in a second to finish out the show. We'll talk some football for sure. We'll segue that. But I wanted to go ahead and end the broadcast here on the YouTube channel. So again, thanks to everybody who's watched and who will watch later on, hopefully. Make sure you let people know about Around the ATL. Make sure you let people know about IMTN Worldwide Radio YouTube channel because that's where we're going to broadcast from primarily. And don't forget, if you're a watcher of the program, if you call into the show, if you comment, you become eligible to win tickets to a Hawks game, tickets to a College Park Skyhawk game, or win a shirt from the Originative brand, which is free, kind of like the one I got on now, but maybe you want a Brave shirt or a Falcon shirt or a Atlanta Dream shirt, whatever it might be. Make sure you go to the Originative brand on Instagram. That being said, we're going to go ahead and sign off here. One more time, if you're just coming in, because I see some people just came in to watch, we're going to go to the radio page, blogtalkradio.com/IMTN Worldwide. If you go to the comment section, you see the website there. We're going to go and talk some Atlanta Falcons football to end the night because we had some technical difficulties. So I'm ending the night here a little bit earlier than usual. Again, I appreciate y'all's support over the years. We're going to be back real soon. We're going to get regular again, I promise. We really are. We're working on it. So until next time, we'll talk to y'all later. John, Jordan, stay on hold, okay?